Hafa. My name is Ryan, and I'm the president of Pinpoint Guam, and this is Data Points. Today, we're going to meet with Gina Campos and Liz Duenas, and they're the associate brokers and principals of Diamond Realty, and they're pros. They've been in the market for over 20 years, and they've bought and sold a lot of stuff on the market more than once. And so they have unique insights on the market that you're going to be interested in, government policy, what's hindering development, and what you should look for in the market today. Please subscribe, like, share, and save this content. You're going to love it. All right, Hafa. My name is Ryan, and I'm the president of Pinpoint Guam, and this is Data Points. And I'm here today with Liz Duenas and Gina Campos, associate brokers of Diamond Realty. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
I'm excited to have you guys here today because you are really a significant presence in local real estate. You guys have been around in excess of 20 years. I learned coming up with you guys kind of up here, and I really enjoyed. I learned a lot from working with both of you, and I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about the local real estate market, because we've been talking to government stakeholders, we've been talking to lenders, we've been talking to different segments of the market and asking them, what are the issues that you see and what's keeping us from moving forward? And so I asked you, in your industry, how would you describe the current state of Guam's residential and commercial real estate markets? And because you're both here, I'll start to my left and I'll end on the right. Okay?
Well, we're lacking affordable housing. And when you say affordable, what is that target market? And at one time it was around 250 to 300. Now it's about trying to find something within the 450 price range could be difficult. So you would go up between 450 up to 495 probably to find something. I know that there's some developers out there working on low to middle income housing. In fact, they worked on a bill with the legislature to see what they could do to ease the permitting process for low to middle income projects. So in terms of our local market, we're lacking the affordable. You won't believe the number of $1 million homes that are out there right now.
Yes.
I mean, I just looked at it. There's 21 of them, with a number of them currently pending. But at one time, you remember the time you were in the business, maybe 2-3 houses were priced over $1 million, and now you've got 21 to 25 houses in that price tag. So when you start to calculate, well, what's your monthly payment? You know, even with the 500 price range, you're looking close to $3,000.
Yes.
So
yeah, between $3,000 and $3,500 for 500 to 550. So that's not affordable in any sense of the word, at least not for our local market.
Right. And so for me, the sweet spot was when we were like about 5% interest rate, right? And so if we're at like 450 median, that's palatable for the market. But then you make the distinction. Well, so one of the important distinctions that I've been hearing and that I've learned is affordable and attainable. Affordable is almost like a bridge too far, because like, what is affordable? But attainable, you take into account the cost of inputs and all that stuff and what the market will bear. And that's really where I've been hearing the focus should be. But tell me, what buyers do you see active in the market now with these $1 million houses out there? But then this gap in the market, where who are the buyers and who are the sellers?
well, we're still getting a mix. Military buyers, of course, can afford it because they have housing allowances. Then it's cyclic because we do have people who are relocating stateside who are military. The cool part about it is the VA loan is assumable. So in some cases, we've been able to make that happen. But in terms of the buyers, we're getting a mix across the board. But the people that I'm working with as well have $250,000 to $300,000 budget. And I'm telling them it's hard to find. And then they try to negotiate with prices, and landlords, they're looking at the market. They're not going to negotiate down to $250,000. Mm-hmm. So it's tough, but we do get a range.
Sure.
The people that are looking out there right now in terms of buyer pool, I'm finding maybe you have 5% of them that are moving on island, that are new people that are moving here, sold property somewhere else. So they come to Guam, and Guam looks affordable when you're looking at it from that lens. I just sold a piece of property somewhere. I made a little bit of money, or maybe you made a lot of money depending on your market. And now you move to Guam, so you're looking at it from that perspective. And Guam then looks like it's an affordable market for them. And then there's the other pool, because that's only maybe 5 to 8% of the market, right? The other pool are local, are people that live here on a day-to-day basis. They have local jobs. And I'm finding a majority of the people that I've had the chance to work with are in the medical industry. You add in all the overtime and, overtime means excess work to me, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're making a lot more money because of overtime, but you're going to be home maybe 10 hours a day. I mean, I know that's probably not even correct, but I'm just saying you're putting in a lot of hours, and now because of all the hours, you're able to afford what is on the market. But then you look at that and you kind of start asking yourself, because I know Liz and I are having these conversations all the time, that, it's the cost. So now it's the affordability question is, I think if the interest rates were lower, then right. It's the monthly. What is affordability? It's what you could pay per month. And so for the buyers who's out there looking are the people in the industry that are able to, you put in more hours, you get a lot more out of what you're typically supposed to get paid. And they're the ones who are starting to really be out there buying. But then we're running out of inventory. Liz just mentioned that. And the reason we're running out of inventory is because of something else she mentioned. Our developers, our contractors, they're not building the way they were building before because, number one, it's harder for them to sell the home they built. It's taking longer for them to get permits, or at least that's a common complaint that we get from them. I just talked to a guy yesterday and he said, it'll take me about 8 months to get the building permit. I said, 8 months?
Crazy.
He's like, Gina, I have to budget for 8 months because realistically, that is probably what's going to happen. I'd like to say I could get it in 3 to 4 months, but I have to project my job site for 8 just in case. And that is what's happening right now. And I asked him, well, why do you think, what's causing that? And he said, well, it's a whole bunch of things. It's the agency, they're understaffed where they should be overstaffed. So the people who do certain things, they're sure-handed on those sides, on that side. And then they're overstaffed on the side that we don't need.
Yes.
And then the other part is bringing material in has been getting harder and harder, takes longer and longer. So he said, I'm almost okay having my permit take 6 to 8 months because it'll take me that long to get my products in. Okay, fine. Then what about pricing? Well, I can't even price it until the house is completely done because I can't even tell you what everything is going to cost me today. So that all of that together
factors
makes for a really ugly picture for our local families here. And we always talk about affordable housing, right? Mm-hmm. We really go out of our way to do what we can to help out with affordable housing. But here's the deal. Everybody's looking to help with that side. The government is looking to help with affordable housing. The contractors are looking to help with affordable housing. We're always talking about affordable housing. But what about the guys who can't qualify for these affordable housing type of products?
The missing.
Yeah. They're the ones that are really lost in the equation here. Nobody thinks about them.
It would help if they were the government, or they would come up with some incentives, not just for developers. The permitting process, as she puts it takes so long. And some of them say it took a year to even get a permit. So if the government would help out, it will definitely make a difference in terms of incentives for the developers, incentives for the buyers. I mean, in the past, we've had some monies that the government would give to first-time home buyers. So we need more programs to help in that process. But it's just we wish, even with this permitting process, I'm curious to see how this will go. Low to middle income projects that this bill was passed, whether that will truly have impact. I mean, many years ago, 8 years ago, Lieutenant Governor mentioned about improving our permitting process where everything is online, and then you could just go see where your permit is in the process,
yes,
and then speed it up. Honolulu just recently advertised that they upload, their system is in place right now where you can track it. Mm-hmm. And I know we circulated among our legislative committee group that Honolulu did it. What's wrong with Guam? Why can't?
But they had that. They had that once upon a time where their system was online.
Sure.
But the problem is, it's
Contractual issues, yeah.
It's like a lot of things here. You build a building, you build a pool, and there's no maintenance. There's no thought about what do you do after the product is in place? Who's going to maintain it? No system is self-maintenance.
Right.
And they don't think beyond the budget today. So here's the budget today. We paid for it. It's in place. And then a year from now, when it needs to be upgraded or maintained or serviced, what's the plan?
Well, that's why we built Pinpoint, and that's why the Guam Association of Realtors is our partner in Real Facts, right?
But it falls back to the private sector.
Sure.
And Liz was talking. She said we need the government to help. No, I have a different mindset. My mindset is we need the government to do their job, and we need them to clearly define what that job is.
Yes.
And then put people in place that could get the job done.
Agreed.
And it should just be very clear cut. There shouldn't be any, this person deserves that. No, I don't care about the person. I care about the work.
But it's got to be some overall plan.
I know my thought process isn't realistic. I understand that. But the government is not being... We pay the government. We don't need them to help. We need them to do their job.
Efficiency is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We were just in Portland. We met with Monica's brother who works. He does planning for the states.
Okay.
And I said, give me the information. I want to pass that on to our legislators. But what he does is he goes into a state, he looks at the efficiency of the government, and then he makes recommendations. You got to do this, in order to complete to be efficient in the work that you do for the public. We need that.
So we need that, and we need good data. And just, again...
Well, you guys provide... I'm glad you guys are there because your data... We need that every day.
Yes.
It makes a big difference in terms of, I can't believe that only a percentage is using it.
And so with that, really our goal isn't the platform, it's structured data. We want structured data because structured data is reliable data, right? It's verified and vetted. That's the problem. There's so much unstructured data in the government, and it's all siloed. So none of us really know what's coming or going. And that really hurts us because when we're trying to bring investment to Guam, hey, I think this is what we did. I'm guessing. Where did you get that from? Well, we took these national numbers and we extracted them for Guam. Well, that doesn't work for your market. So none of the data we really look at, does it really come from our market? Our data comes from our market. Our data is sourced. You are both market experts. But when we hear from the National Association of Realtors, it's a seller's market, it's a buyer's market. That's not
applicable to
not
Guam.
100%. Because I would say, is it a seller's market if the house is $450,000 or less? Absolutely, write your ticket, right? If it's $800,000, we got lots of those.
Yeah.
Right? You want a multifamily? Good luck finding that, right? So and then we talk about where developers are building. Part of that is mindset of the market, right? You talk about the missing middle, right? But
I've always been missing.
Yeah.
But missing middle with the income limits, if they know how to leverage programs, can buy a multifamily. An owner-occupied. Think about the rent subsidies where they are, right? If I can get a 3-bedroom that gets like between $1,800 and $2,200 a month, and I'm a real estate expert, if I have a real estate license, I'm a real estate expert. So banks qualify me automatically to count that income towards my qualification, right? So 70% of that gets to me. And if I'm willing to live in a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, then the market pushes that up. And ladies, when I was a real estate agent, the trick was when you found a duplex, make it a single family because it raises the value.
Exactly.
Now the trick is we need as much multifamily,
income,
right? And
it's
so
your income.
And so now the value of multifamily is caught up with single family. It's actually more.
It's much more.
Yeah.
Right? And the market demands it. So why aren't builders building more multifamily?
Well, so I have a gentleman who's trying to do that. We have so many issues that you have to tackle here. We did the new nitrate system bill.
Sure.
Okay, it passed, but it's very restrictive.
And who sells them?
Well, okay, selling them, they're here.
No, they're here. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
So I've already talked to the people who sell it, and like one gentleman told me, he only has 3 of them sold.
Okay.
Because the way the bill was written, it's restrictive. you have to have a particular type of property. You have to a lot that was created through parental or a lot that was created through the decedent estate. Okay. And if you don't have that, you cannot. Yeah. I mean, you could use that new septic tank, but what for? Why would you want to automatically spend more?
Was that amended from the original bill?
Well, it was amended.
The original bill was amended in order to get
but
passed.
We want to go back again to work on amending it so that it frees the restriction, because it doesn't really help. It's tying. It's like, okay, you have this, but let me tie one hand behind your back.
No, you're tying two hands.
Two hands.
Agreed.
It's two. And the people that were opposed to the new nitrate system it was about density. When you talk about density, you're talking about people. So let's just, I wish we'd just talk plainly. Mm-hmm. You don't want more people living on the land. Well, why not? I mean, these are our people. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want more of our people living on the land? I don't get that.
And it happens anyway.
Yeah.
But if you really are trying to talk about conserving the environment and protecting the environment, nitrate is a natural occurring product of the environment. When the leaves fall and they decay, they bring about nitrate. That is part of nitrate. So I guess the solar farm where they just cleared all the vegetation there, I guess it's not contributing to nitrate. But, this is where I said, you need that duct tape rule where, okay, Gina, duct tape.
No, but these are the facts.
But I'm telling you, so going back to that, why aren't more people building duplexes or more than single family units? Because it's hard to get the permitting.
There you go.
And you need sewer.
Right.
And you need sewer. And our government's not putting that in.
And the density waiver and all that.
Yes.
All of that.
The super committee. Yes.
If you really think about it, we can't develop because there are no sewers. So what's the solution? Put in the darn sewers. Come up with a budget.
Okay, wait.
We already know what the problem is.
Let me take it. Let me make it even easier. You're concerned about nitrates. Put in the sewer. Let's just solve everybody's problem.
Yeah.
Put in the sewer, and then we've gone to the public hearings, and then we sit there and we listen to them say, "This is the government talking."
Sure.
We can't afford to do it. Well, shit. Neither can. Oh, sorry.
Neither can
we.
Yeah.
You expect the community to do it, but you're sitting there with all of our money and you say you can't do it.
No, but you say you can't do it, right? But then you say you want to do attainable, affordable housing where ultimately the cost of someone doing it gets passed on to the consumer.
Now, so the other thing is there are federal programs out there that were able to develop affordable housing. Carlos Camacho, for example, he built a group of homes in Manila. The federal programs that he does, 20% I think of that is granted as part of the infrastructure.
Right.
So stuff like that, I mean, we've talked about it at the legislature. They should come up with something. But the federal programs do allow to help cover infrastructure, which what does it do? Bring down prices down to make the home affordable.
But only for low-income families.
But for low-income families. But see, there's a mechanism. So it's a question of individuals utilizing that. The other thing I want to bring up, at one time land was moving fairly quickly, but right now it's kind of on the stagnant side.
It's a little bit.
We talked to the developers and their feedback was, well, we have inventory and because of the high cost of building and everything, we're just going to sit for a while. We're not, before they're like scrambling to grab this, grab that because they want to build. But now with the cost being so high, it's
and
down.
for the people out there that criticize these contractors and these builders, because there are some, even in our government, that criticize them. And part of this whole thing about the nitrate and all that came from the criticism of contractors subdividing their properties using parental, using what they called a loophole in the law. I don't consider a loophole.
But so what?
Part of the law, they could do parental.
What? Who are they going to sell it to?
No,
they're selling it to the locals. They're not selling it in China. They're not selling it in the States. They're selling it to the local families.
No, they buy an acre, right? I say contractor, right? They buy an acre, right? And then they cut off the parent lot, and then they hold the child and then rent the child lot out until or come to some agreement, right? But there's a hack.
Yes.
And quite frankly, there's a hack for everything in the market. So
yeah.
every obstacle the government puts up, there's a hack.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you can never think of what the loopholes are going to be until it's all
you go
done,
through the
But you know
and
who
you're
knows?
sitting back, and then you figure out, wait, what are they doing? but I give them credit for that. And like Liz said, they're building homes, and somebody here is going to buy it. So what happens is when these developers or contractors, whatever we want to call them, when they build a product, so let's say a new family arriving on island buys that product. Well, that means that family didn't buy an already existing home. So somebody in our local market who was here already could buy that existing home because the families coming in, the new arrivals are buying the new one. So, the whole market's taken care of. But when there's too many obstacles, when there's too much burden on these contractors, right now they don't want to build. And Liz is right, they don't want to build. They have too much inventory. And part of it is the interest rate, which we cannot control the interest rate. So we're just going to have to sit back and wait it out. That's all you could do. So you can't control that. So what they are controlling is if they can't hold the product anymore, they're reducing the price, but they're also not building anymore.
Right.
And
They're
then,
just
and
Or they're
that-
renting.
They're renting it out.
But
It's a better option.
there are homes within the 300 to 400 price range, but a lot of them are fixer-uppers.
Yes.
And some
All of
loan
them.
institutions do allow for loans that will
FHA
give you a
rehab.
percentage to renovate, and without any there's a budget restriction on that. But again, the affordable ones, if you're really looking, you're going to have to be prepared to renovate and do some work on the property.
No, but for those $230,000 homes, they're getting bid up because flippers are getting
Yes,
them,
exactly.
right? To get to the
Yes.
550,
Well, yeah,
570.
that's right.
A regular buyer who needs to get a loan, how are they going to do it? It's so restrictive.
You have to get through the government program, and if you can't, again, like you said, PMI is restrictive. It brings
Yeah.
payments up.
Restrictive.
It's very restrictive.
The way the loans are set up, your seller, the person selling it to you, has to really want to work with you because it's going to take you a little bit of time to get that loan. And sometimes the loans require that you do ABC before you even close the deal. I mean,
One has
it's
the
just
capacity or the expertise.
yeah, or the expertise, or the stomach, or the patience.
An agent asked me to say, "Hey, can you just give me a list of all the vacant properties that people don't live here, so I can market and see if any of them will list because they're never coming."
I
back."
want that list too.
Well, no,
too.
but I pushed back, right? And I said,
They can research it.
"Why? Because you're inheriting a problem. You're going to list land. It's going to sit because who's building right now? And then do you have the expertise to take it from beginning to end? Can you tell them how to get the plans, how to find the contractor, how to get the financing? Do they know they have to carry a loan for 18 months while you're permitting, getting construction, and then through the construction period? And then did you even have the 20% you needed to buy the land? And then the monthly payment to carry all the phases through 18 months? It's almost like impossible where the market income is supposed to be $2,000, right? That's supposed to cover your total housing expense. And we're like $3,500 to start
exactly.
at the mid-level price because of the interest rate. How do you solve that problem? But then we talk about alternate materials. We have steel out there.
About that.
Well, see, look at that. I don't know, but that's the market. But if I can build a house in 3 days, it's stigmatized no matter what. Anything that's non-concrete.
But Ryan, I say I don't know about that, not because I don't think it's going to work, because in terms of cost, been there, done that, tried it, didn't work based on cost.
Right, but ironically, Lockwood houses are still here. Like
They are
they've
still
been here since the
here.
70s.
But the thing is, maintenance issues, they are.
And when they brought them in, the cost at that time, try to bring them in now. You know,
can't
Paris
afford it.
Brothers, they tried the precast homes. They actually did. They were supposed
3
to
or
do,
4 of them that we saw.
Yeah,
yes.
Prefabricated.
Yeah, yes. So it came in. They said it's like a jigsaw puzzle.
They just
So
put it together.
You just put it together. They tried that. We tried it with them,
And it still costs.
and they couldn't do any more than the 3 they put up. I think it was 3 they ended up putting up. They couldn't do any more because by the time they tested out the 3, they said
cost.
this isn't working. We're spending more money than what you could sell it for.
You know what will work? What is those digital
Virtual tours?
No, the digital
Where you cut it up.
cut it, and build a home using that. They're doing that stateside. I don't know how effective.
You mean 3D
they are.
printing?
3D printing
right?
of a house.
So yes.
So when the typhoon comes in, we'll see how that 3D printed home feels.
No, but so I've actually explored 3D printing significantly. I went to the World of Concrete and I looked at a 3D printer, right? It's amazing. They have the cure. I've actually stood in a house in Denver that's
Really?
3D printed. It's amazing stuff, right? And we'd love to do it. But again, can the market support it? Is the expertise? Can you run it? Because the types of people that run a 3D printing concrete machine, they are biochemists and they're molecular engineers and they're
And we don't have that
scientists. They're not
expertise,
builders,
yeah.
right? The 3D printing world is completely different. They're technologists, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming from MIT and stuff.
Yeah.
But the idea is it's quick. It can build. But you know, when they say you can build a house in 3 days, it doesn't happen in 3 days. It's a learning curve. So you got to get into the market. You gotta
quirks
start
that
doing it.
come
right?
up
And
along
then
with
you
it.
add in that other factor, that OOG factor.
Right.
Oh, well,
Because,
yes.
you know, they brought in that precast from what they said they used it in Florida. They've used it here and there. So they're trying that here.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, number one, when we looked at the product and we looked at the cost, we just didn't think it was affordable. It's affordable if you build 500 square feet. And then if you're just looking at the price point, 230, 250, you can say, yeah, that's a really affordable range. Well, what am I getting? 500 square feet. Oh, okay. You know, so that.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so-
cost factors.
But if the government was to come in and like
So
vouch
there's-
for some
there's
of
the
those
key,
materials
there's
and
the
things like
key.
that, then, you know, subsidize,
some
get the price down so the
incentives.
stigma gets down,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Right?
See,
Gets to
my
the market.
idea of subsidize is
Incentivize, I should say.
or incentivize, okay? Incentivize by, and I think this actually needs to be a law. We should mandate that when somebody applies for a permit, it should take 30 to 60 days, no more than that. And if the people in those agencies can't do it in 30 to 60 days, then you just don't have the right people in the right position. So you move
Say it again
out.
and look at the camera.
So if you don't have, I'm not afraid to say.
No,
I've
I'm
been
saying-
that. Listen, it's the only way to help our community.
But in the private sector,
just
you
like-
don't do your job. You're out of a
Yeah,
job.
I mean, that's how it works for us.
that's
If I
how it
don't
works
do
in
my
the-
job. They move on to what, 600 realtors? Okay, let me go to 599, 598 until I get somebody who does it right.
Right.
But so that, how does the government help? They do that. Somebody at the legislature makes it mandatory, writes the law and says, listen, guys, we have to help our community. We're going to make this law. We're going to give you 90 days to figure out how to pull it off. So we're going to write the law. It goes into effect in 90 days. In 90 days, you guys have been doing this. It's not rocket science we're asking you to do. We're not asking you to do brain surgery. We're just asking you to do what you've been doing, but now you do it in 30
in a
to
certain
60
timeline,
days.
yeah.
Yeah? No?
And then you put that into law. So that's number one. Number two, the government needs to invest in our community by paying for some of the infrastructure.
Yes.
And talk's cheap. You know, you have the system development money and people are saying, yeah, we're spending it now. We're going to spend it. We're going to do it. Well, don't do it in 10 years. In 10 years, we have a completely different market. So if you can't pull it off in a year or two, then you shouldn't be doing that job either.
Yeah.
Get it done in 1 or 2 years.
And you know what's weird? I just heard today, 90% of the government budget is personnel expense.
Yeah.
And if you think about that, what happens to the maintenance and all the other stuff that needs to get done? It isn't getting done.
What do you do with that?
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
But that change the law, permits in 60 days, no longer than that. Spend some of our money, our taxpayer money, on infrastructure, define the areas that are sought after, and we could tell you.
Yeah.
If you can't figure it out, Guam, we'll tell you where people are moving. You know, and maybe you start with the places like Swamp. There's a lot of Swamp Road,
That Gilboa's subdivision.
There's a place that the Gigo Mayor took us to that during COVID, we were passing
We went up there. You won't believe after Mawar,
You're not going to
buildings were
believe.
leveled. They're shacks. That whole road. And they sold those properties, seller financing.
Oh, yeah.
There were but it was like, unbelievable. People are living there.
You know, we talk about third world countries. You go to some of these areas and we should be ashamed of ourselves.
No, Gina, and I agree. Like next to the old amusement park, I was walking some property corners. This was like 6 years ago, and there was a pallet like shanty town that was built up in the jungle, and it was like no running water, but there was at least 50 people there.
Listen, right? it is all over Guam. And
the bus was stopping there.
Yeah. Most of us don't even realize that place we went to, Diego.
We didn't realize.
There are families and their children, and you know what? They're glad to live there because they have a roof over their head and a little community.
Sure.
And they're glad to be there. They're glad to have the opportunity to at least say we have a home and not worry about paying rent, right? But the government, I swear, they need to go in there. I don't give a crap that the government doesn't want to pay for water and power and all this stuff. You know what? These people are already there. We had all that COVID money, for God's sakes. I don't even know why they didn't automatically budget for that and say, we're going to go in there. We're going to do the streets. We're going to put in the power poles. We're putting in water and sewer because, it just needs to be done. It's the right thing to do. And then they're at the legislature arguing amongst themselves. It's so unbecoming of our leaders to be acting that way. And they act that way even when we're there.
And they have a different impression. They feel like realtors. When we come in, follow the money. And one senator was so adamant about follow the money. And we're only there fighting for the community and try to rectify some of the wrongs and trying to see what could help to help our community. And it's not about money. It's about our community service.
I want to tell people, if it's about money, we wouldn't spend our time down there because we don't make anything going down there.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time down there because we don't want to just sell houses to people who can afford it. We want to help these people that can't. And they're not going to go down there and fight for themselves. They just won't.
Because you don't know what you don't know. And we've been through it so many times, so we educate, right? And so I got really offended. I was at a round table about permitting, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not even a realtor anymore, right? But one of the people at the table said, well, this realtor sold someone down the river, right? And I just pushed back and I said, look, the reason why these people are getting bad information is because everyone's sitting at the table, right? Yeah. The reason why is because you don't maintain good information. And I asked two different people at any agency, I'm going to get two different answers. There's no consistency. And if I get the answer and I ask why, no one will know why. And that's pervasive top to bottom. And
you know what they tell you? Why, it's protocol.
No, it's just, but really the answer is, I don't know, but it's what I was taught. And it's what
But here's the question. Done. Even John went and questioned, what protocol? Well, this is the way it's done. So he kept pushing the envelope. He finally got the answer. He said, there was no protocol.
There was. They
were just practicing what was being taught to them, only to find out they were wrong.
Right.
Well, sometimes that's what it is. They're trying to do the best they know how, but they
understood.
But there's so much to know that they're not able to know all of it. But instead of just saying, because if I have any doubt, I'm going to say, listen, I don't know.
Give me something.
Let's dig up more material and figure it out. Because I honestly don't know.
And you'll get sued.
I'm okay saying that.
No, justify the answer.
Yeah, but some of the agencies, they really dig deep and they're, well, I'm in charge and that's how it's going to be. And then if you question, well, why is it like that? Show me why it's like that. And then some people just get really firm in their position instead of realizing we're just all trying to help each other.
Yes.
Perhaps you don't really know, and we could learn together and make this better.
Yeah. And to clarify, we're not trashing everybody. No. This is a small subset, but this is just experientially. This is what we run into, and this is the public mindset, right? The money grubbing realtors, right? It's like, no, we're actually trying to help because there's risk of loss for us. We give you bad advice, right?
And some of us are money grabbing.
Yes.
So you know what? Beware public. If you think you're working with somebody who's money grabbing, figure it out and move on. There's 600 of us.
Right.
It's not like you don't have choices.
Diversity of choice, right?
Boy, we've been straight through your line of questioning here.
No, but this is what we want, right? We want this organic discussion about what's going on in the market and what the frustration is. And you guys are at the front lines of the frustration because you have to hear it from the public, and then you have to hear it from the supply side, and then you have to deal with the obstacles that come from the government, and you have to earn a living doing it.
That's the key. Liz and I earn a living doing this.
Yes.
We're not just, we're not just brokers who don't actually go out there and interact with customers and clients. We do that every day.
Yeah, Liz, you guys climbed the fences. You guys, Gina came from a house. She's all sweaty to this thing.
Liz called me. I was sweating. My feet were dirty. And I took off my shoes. Why I keep doing that? It's just the plowing in me. I keep forgetting. Leave your shoes on, crazy lady. But anyway, I'm sweating. And then Liz calls me and oh, crap. I'm supposed to already be driving there. So I turn on the aircon, full blast. Okay. I'll cool off by the time I get there.
Hey, one thing you need to know, we do whatever it takes. If it means climbing a hill with my high heel shoes,
Seen it.
I'll do it. Yeah, you've seen it, right? Literally, we'll do whatever it takes. I mean, we've even trying to get into a property to show sometimes is a challenge.
Yes.
And I'll slide underneath the garage door. I'll go through the window. We do all sorts of things.
If you see a little lady in a short skirt trying to get in the window, that's her.
That's Lizzie. I'll be the one behind her going, don't look.
Hey, we do whatever it takes.
We do, right? And so the larger point in this, right? They're talking about spending money in all these sectors, right? But we talk about all these people being vulnerable. We talk about the AG's billboards. We talk about homeless in the street, right?
Yes.
And what solves those issues? Housing. Right? Attainable housing, a safe space to live, right? If you can call it your own and you have your space, you are safe in that moment.
Yes.
And that's important. And if you have something that your own, you're safe, that builds and you go from there. Mm-hmm. And so, when I see someone laying in the street, when I see some of the social issues that we see, and I think we are at the front lines of this. We can solve this problem. It drives me crazy. And that's why we started these conversations.
It drives us crazy.
And that's why you guys are so angry, right?
Yeah.
Because you know that your business is predicated on a new class of people coming up and being upwardly mobile and buying new houses, right? But right now, we have a generation of people that will never own a house unless we do something about it.
Yeah, but owning a home is possible. I know that we have realtors in the Philippines that they've done their own testimonies that they were homeless. Mm. They've lived on the streets. They had to protect their home. And they end up raising themselves from where that they started. And now they're helping others get to owning a home. So it's no different here. We're all the same. But I know we do have mental issues of people who are homeless that may need treatment. Yeah. I think there should be some form of a law, just, hey, let's help you, take you, get you whatever you need, and then a program to develop their skills so that they can go out and be producing citizens in the community.
Well, it has to be a whole community.
Yeah,
approach,
there's
right? You have to have treatment and all this other stuff, right? But, but I think at a minimum, if there was a space to go and be okay,
it'll be a start.
That's a fact.
Yeah. I agree that. I don't think homeless people should just be allowed to encroach on properties and live, like that place near the beauty salon in Daddy Joe. There's a homeless encampment there. There's another one in Palco Bay that they've cleared up and people have come back already. I don't agree with that at all. Because number one, it doesn't make for a safe environment for the whole community. So I think the government should. The government has lots of property. I don't understand why the government can't designate certain areas. And if the government believes it's okay to allow them to live like that in these little shacks, I think you should build something and allow them to live in these homes and have some kind of guidelines, some kind of rules, because without rules, there's only chaos. These people fight amongst each other. They hurt each other. So, there has to be some kind of rules, but I don't agree that we should allow them to live the way they're living right now. I don't think that's good for the community. I don't think it's good for these individuals.
But I've heard stories from social workers that they do have placements for them, but if they have to follow the rules.
Sure.
And many of them don't want to follow the rules. They prefer to live,
It's not an easily solved problem.
it's not a...
No, but we don't have enough. So for the people out there who try to place these homeless individuals, you will find out that there's really there's a lot of agencies, but there aren't any houses.
Mm-hmm.
And like some of the houses, like Guma San Jose, you go there at night to check in, but you have to leave. I mean, and it's like that with most other areas, right? It just sounds good, but that in actuality, so I had this one family with 7 kids, and it's like, so they told us, well, you just go there during the day and then you wait, and if they have space, they will take you in. It's a fourplex, guys. He's got 7 kids. Right. And he doesn't have a car. How do you expect him to show up every day to check in? I mean, it sounds good, but in reality, there's just not, the government hasn't thought this through. There aren't really enough houses. So that's why these people are doing what they're doing. Part of it is they don't want to listen to rules. Yeah. But I think you could fix that if you could just provide, okay, this spot is housing for homeless people. You go check in there. This spot. There's just a lot to do here.
Yes, there absolutely is. We've established that there's there's inventory, but there's a shortage of buyers for the inventory that's available, right? And so, how does that shortage of viable, purchasable housing for the market that exists impact your business? And what are you seeing in terms of your workforce solving those issues?
Well, I think for us, we're full-time agents, so we're always talking to sellers and buyers. And always, it's like Gene puts it, there's a lid for every pot, trying to put together a potential buyer with a potential seller, the right property, right? And it's just a question of what's available in the inventory. When it comes to houses, it's cut and dry. It's either a cash sale or they'd have to go through the loan process. And I think helping them through the process, educating them to get from point A to point B is critical to make that happen. When you're dealing with commercial buildings or with land, those could get a little creative. I mean, we've done transactions where sometimes the price may be too high, but if you make it doable where there's flexibility in down payments and payment plan over, let's say, a short period, we've made transactions like that happen. Mm. Yeah, so I think education with working with our sellers and helping our buyers as well, educate them on the process. We try to do it on the front end so we could keep moving the deal forward. If you don't, there's going to be hiccups, and you're not going to get from point A to point B.
Right. What do you think, Gina?
I think it's just going to continue. The market's going to continue doing what it's doing. I'm optimistic about the market. I think what I'm noticing for the people I'm working with, if something is priced well, we have the buyers. The problem is the pricing because the interest rates are too high. If you don't connect those dots and explain to your sellers, in order for the market to be able to afford your product, because it's not about the price, it's about affordability with the monthly payment. So, so that's how we're kind of bridging the gap and creating market for the sellers. So for us, it's been moving well. Now the next hiccup for us is how do we bridge the gap between these people who do want to build and what's going on in our marketplace in terms of stuff they can't control, which is the building permit process and the issue with bringing in material, because they can't control that. Even labor to some degree, they can't control that. But I think I'm very optimistic about the market. I think by the end of the year, I think if you're serious about buying, for buyers out there, if you're serious about buying, I know the interest rates are not pretty right now, but you got to get in there. You got to get yourself ready because it's only going to go down. Mm-hmm. I mean, our current president has made that clear. It's only going to go down. So if you go get qualified now, it's only going to go down. So just bear in mind that whatever you qualify for now, when the interest rate goes down, which it will, you're going to qualify for more. So just start looking, get yourself positioned, because I think by the end of the year, the market's going to be ugly again.
Yep.
I really think
it'll
so.
help. And if the interest rates drop, it makes it their monthly payments more affordable. And so that's what we've all been waiting for the interest rates to drop. Because even with that, with the land sales, if the interest rates drop, then these developers will look at it and say, okay, looks like I can move my property. Let me start buying land again and start building.
I think, Ryan, I think people always wait too late. It's like,
It's cyclic.
It's like for the builders out there, why do you wait until everybody's already buying land and then all of a sudden you want to buy and now you're competing with each other? Why do you do that? Why don't you just do it now and start your permit process, so by the time you're halfway done with the houses, the market's already up? Because when I say ugly by the end of the year, I don't mean it's going to get worse. I mean it's going to be ugly because you're going to have 10 offers on a house, or like there was a point in time where we had 20 offers on a house. How do you deal with that? I mean, you can only say yes to one customer. You have to say no to 19 people. That's, believe it or not, that's heart-wrenching for us.
Yes.
Wait, you know, I mean, they're not all your customers, but you feel so awful about it because you know there's 19 other people that you're going to have to tell them you're not getting this house. So I'm really optimistic. I think if you're going to buy, get qualified right now, get yourself ready, find the best realtor you can, buddy up, because you two are going to be best friends before the end of the year. You know, so get your loan in place. And then for the contractors, the people who want to build, don't create your own competition, guys. Go out there and start buying now. Don't wait until it's a feeding frenzy and then you all want to feed on the same piece of fish. Come on.
No, real talk. I would be buying land right now, like large tracts, right?
Now is the time.
And so,
and negotiate a good price.
no, but back to your point about education, knowledge of financing programs, avenues to ownership, grants available, that is actioning into inventory. And that's why you work with a real estate agent or a realtor, because they're industry professionals and they understand. Because if you don't understand, you ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, you're not going to go anywhere. Right? Exactly.
But I bet you know loan programs better than some of the loan officer.
When I work with buyers, I usually
around more than
Well, that's why you've been around. That's why you've been around.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, you either get it through experience or you learn it early on.
Yeah.
My advantage was I knew it early on. Right.
Yeah.
That's how I was able to navigate very quickly. But I mean, if you just keep at it, to the 10,000 hour rule, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about it is, when I work with people, I'll say, okay, here's a scenario. If the scenario changes, then we take this route. If that changes, here's another option. I always want things done on the front end, so you're anticipating the different moves and the different issues that could crop up. What do? You got to pivot and turn and keep doing that until you hit it right.
We always want a game plan. We advise them, these things could happen. What's our game plan?
Yep.
Right. And so your game plan should be to reach out to a real estate agent, probably one. It's one of the two sitting next to me.
Honestly, we don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
As long as they find somebody. Some people, it's chemistry too, right?
Sure.
You got to work with somebody you feel
someone
good
you feel
with.
comfortable with, someone you can trust that could help you move through the process and keep you moving forward.
Yeah.
Right. And that, one of the first guests we had was Bill Bernardo, right? And Bill Bernardo is kind of like, he's very like easygoing and stuff. But the thing we spoke about is just being yourself and being authentic.
Yeah.
Right? And you'll find your match.
And people get it. Not only that, people will know do you click or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I get some people, our personalities are different. And it doesn't matter to us. It's like, who's going to get you the work you need done?
And then also it's an education, right?
Yeah.
You Gen Z, don't be scared of working with boomers.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just in the process of making an offer and trying to do it, even if you fail, you learn so much, right? And then there's more ready
Keep
next
moving.
time, right? It takes practice. You gotta take that first step, right? Whether it's credit repair, whether it's researching an arc, or whether it's talking to a qualified person about financing, you just have to move.
Yes.
That's part of what so I don't consider myself an expert at anything. And so it gives me the opportunity to learn from every experience that I encounter, because I feel like, shoot, I got a lot to learn still. And so I do
keep
learn
learning
from every customer I work with, every seller I work with. There's something unique about all these individuals, and you can learn a lot just from working with them.
I agree. And I've been in the industry for over 20 years. And the reason why we started having these conversations is because I'm learning.
Yeah.
And just in the exercise of learning from people who are skilled and experts in their market, you gain so much. And we just wanted to share that with everybody, because we want our audience to be stakeholders. We want our audience to be people who want to solve these problems. We want to tell them this is the way to go.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time on Data Points. I really appreciate your expertise in the market. And we'll see you in the streets.
Well, thank you for having it. We're definitely going to be out in the streets.
Definitely.
All right, guys. Thank you.
you.
And thank you for joining us on Data Points. Those guys were awesome. And they had so much to say that I think is valid and should be considered. And, whatever their views are, they care. And they want to make a meaningful difference in the market, not for profit, but because they live here in these communities. Their children live here in their communities. Their employees live here in these communities. And ultimately, they just want things to be better. And we want things to be better. And that's why we continue to have these conversations and bring in market experts and educate and inform and hopefully solve some problems. And if you want to be a part of that, please give us a like, share, subscribe, or save on any of our platforms. And check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or give us a comment. Or give us a question. Tell us what you want to find out about it and who you want us to talk to, and we'll be there for you. Good. Yep.